Hey everyone, welcome to another one of our LinkedIn Lives here at Mindmatrix on the Partner Matrix side. My name is Kevin Hospodar. I head up marketing here at Mindmatrix, and today I'm joined by Carmen from AchieveUnite, and we're going to talk a little bit about the relationship between channel marketing and channel sales and channel leadership. So welcome, Carmen.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. It's a pleasure to be here. Looking forward to a lively discussion here.
For sure. So kicking into it, maybe give us a little bit of background about you, of your professional career, where you're at with AchieveUnite, and I think it'll kind of help shape our conversation for everyone to kind of hear your experiences.
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. So I'm a senior advisor with AchieveUnite. I've been here for about a year and a half, and that's after about 20 years in the industry as a channel leader, a sales leader with several leading tech companies, software as a service, backup software, service provider, spent some time at AWS. So I've approached the channel sales, channel programs, channel leadership role from different perspectives in different companies. And in every one of those jobs I've had, it's always been interesting to see how I needed to work on improving, optimizing the relationship with the channel marketing folks, whether they report it to me or whether they report it into the CMO. So I have a lot of insights and experiences that I can share with your participants here.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think it's also unique too of that for someone like you to go from that corporate side or working inside of an organization now to an advisory role where you can kind of see across a wide swath of different organizations how people do things. Because I'm sure that whenever you're inside of an organization, sometimes you have that singular focus of knowing what works for you. Now you get to kind of see what works for everyone.
Yeah, Kevin, that's a great point. And when you're a channel leader, when you're a sales leader, you're in one company at the time, and that's what's the most important. Every quarter is the most important quarter. So you're focused. What I'm learning is now that I'm looking across the broader range of companies, I'm learning how common some of the challenges are that I had in the companies I was with and how common they are across 10, 20 companies that I talk to on a quarterly basis. So a lot of the challenges are the same, and therefore a lot of the solutions are the same. And it's just a blast helping people figure out how to solve for those problems using the experience I have, and also the learning I have, and as I call it, the scars, because not everything I did over the last 20 years was done perfectly right. And so my learnings from doing those things could be shared with my clients, and it's just, like I said, a blast to be doing that.
And also too, like you said, that the with all those different organizations, I'm sure there's different structures and different ways that the teams work together and the way that kind of things are built. So before we really get into it, maybe even like a level set of the difference between marketing and channel marketing. And sometimes I'm sure you've seen organizations where there's a separate channel marketing function that rolls up into the channel team. Sometimes that channel marketing role and function rolls up inside the marketing team and then kind of has that dotted line into the channel team. So maybe talk about those two different ways you've seen it work, and kind of that difference between like a marketer and a marketing team versus a channel marketer and a channel marketing team.
Yeah, no, great question. To give you examples, I'll take two extremes, right? And then there are many examples that fit in the middle, right? So one extreme would be, the company that's new to channels, right? They have a great product. Let's just say it's a software as a service product. They have marketing material that's meant for customers, right? And they feel like they have a strong value proposition. There's good communication, content, material to go to customers. And so the channel leader, the sales leader, say myself, if I was in that role, I'd step in and say, hey, I need some channel marketing material. And you're in a bit of trouble when the answer back is, oh, just take what we have and do a full-scale replace of the word customer with the word partner. And that's when you realize, okay, that's not going to work, because everything you've built for marketing has been based on value propositions. And what we need in marketing to our partners is we need business propositions. So changing the word out is not going to help. We need to really change the story and explain to partners, how can we help you make more money? How can we help you grow? How can we help you differentiate your services from your competitors? And that requires a channel marketing mindset. And which means you need to have more of a business sense of what the partner's doing. What does their P&L statement look like? What's their North Star? And your channel marketing person needs to lean in with you as the channel leader to say, hey, let me help build this business proposition. And that's challenging, right? And so that's one extreme example. The other example is maybe you're in a company that has a mature channel model. Maybe you have 80, 90% of your business going through partners, right? Or with partners. And there it's a little less challenging, but you still have the challenge of making it channel marketing and not just marketing with a capital M. And sometimes the more successful a client is, the harder it is for them to change their ways from a marketing perspective. So even with a more mature 80, 90% through the channel companies, sometimes you still need to emphasize there's a different message. I need to go recruit new partners, to go nurture my partners. And so you need that channel marketing person to have those skill sets similar to what a partner account manager would have. And regardless of where the channel marketing group reports, whether they're in the CMO, into sales, into the channel leader, the faster you can forget about the org structure and the reporting lines, the faster you can get to solutions and just embrace the channel marketing team like they're on your team, whether or not they are. Invite them to your direct report management meetings, have them in your quarterly readouts. If the closer they are to you as a channel leader, the higher the likelihood is that you're going to be able to get what you need from them to grow your business.
And I think that's good. Great answer, kind of a great overview too. I think one thing that's interesting there is you talked about maybe on the less mature, even in the mature channel organizations, is and kind of one of my first topics we were talking about is trust. I mean, I think there needs to be that trust in the teams that you can sit down and have that strategy conversation where marketing kind of maybe takes it down a notch and not focus on the tactics or holding strong to their strategy, but it's a joint effort. Like you mentioned, if you're going to market to your partners, you have to think that's their customer, that's your end customer. If you're going to market with your partners, you're still using some of maybe that direct sales language we were talking about customers, but you also then need to leave some space for the partners to be involved too. So I think looking at those things, having that trust in the team that you can come together, develop a strategy that's sales and marketing together. As a marketer, sometimes it might be hard to trust sales, and sometimes sales, it might be hard to trust marketing, but to have those really integrated campaigns and making sure that you're getting the value prop and doing that business planning and doing like that marketing strategy that supports the partners, not just supports your own business. I think there's a level of trust that has to happen there too.
Yeah, great point, Kevin. We emphasize that with our clients all day, every day, right? Because it's not just about trust between the vendor and the partner, but as you mentioned, even within the vendor organization, it's trust within organizations and across organizations. And nowhere is there more of a strain on that trust than sales and marketing. Examples are salespeople get leads from marketing. They can't convert them to opportunities. They call them bad leads. They're garbage. And that never becomes a closed loop process, right? So the marketing people are thinking, hey, we're giving them leads. Everything's good. We said 100. We gave them 100 or 500, whatever the number is. And if you don't have that closed loop and communication to build a trust, so, okay, if the leads weren't good, why not? What did you have any that were good? What were the criteria that were similar with all the good leads? How do you provide that feedback to marketing? But what happens so often is many sales teams just dismiss that. And they'll say, you know what? It's not worth it. These marketing leads are no good. I'm just going to do everything on my own. Well, then you have stranded resources in your company because you're still paying people to go do this marketing role. So what I encourage channel leaders is tighten that linkage with your marketing person, your channel marketing person, and make sure you're communicating back and forth and build the trust. And I know you're all familiar with PQI, Partnering Quotient Index. We roll out assessments and workshops for our clients. And we thought they would use them primarily for working with their partners, but more and more companies are using them to build trust within their organization. And it's not just marketing and sales, it's between sales and product and customer success, right? If that whole engine isn't working seamlessly together, and if they don't trust each other, then it makes it harder to grow the business. So that's a very good point.
I'll put a link to PQI whenever we're for the recording here over in the comments once we're done. But yeah, the PQI, I've gone through that a few times, and it's really enlightening too, to see how people communicate and finding the right language, and it makes for really impactful relationships and impactful conversations quickly on there. One thing too, I'm going to hit on that you mentioned of that with marketing, usually in a direct motion, marketing's providing leads directly to a sales team. It's interesting too that sometimes marketing might need to think a little differently on the channel side, where they're reporting to the channel leadership and the channel sales. They're not reporting to channel sales, but they're supporting channel sales. Right. They're doing those things, but they're also supporting the partners too. I think that's not just the internal stakeholders from the operations and management on the channel side, but then also supporting partners and having that flexibility. There's all kinds of tactics and tools and software and things like that to do it, but I think there's also has to be a fundamental shift if you're coming from a traditional marketing world to understand that you've got two mouths to feed with that marketing activity of not just your channel sales team, but your partners and your partner ecosystem as well.
Yeah, Kevin, good point. And it's interesting that you use the eating analogy, because way back when the vendors, the tech vendors, had all the power, right? I'm talking about whether or not you were HP, Cisco, EMC, Dell. You had a lot of the power, and your partners were reselling your product and adding value, thus the term value-added reseller. We used to call it back then VAR food, right? How can you get more VARs to work with you? Well, let's give them leads. Let's give them some VAR food. That has completely shifted now, because partners are working with multiple vendors. They have a lot more intelligence and knowledge about what their customers want. And the power has shifted in many ways to the partners. And so because of that, the vendor channel marketing team needs to do a better job at finding ways to create leads together. So how can you do a co-branded lead generation campaign? How can you create compelling joint value propositions that you can go out and reach your prospects, tell them about the joint value, and then attract leads? And whether the vendor's doing a lot of that or the partner, whether or not you're using MDF funds, the bottom line is you have to have that joint value proposition that's simple and compelling. And that's one of the biggest shifts I've seen in the industry. And so you're right. That's why when you said about eating, that's what made me think of the old VAR food analogy and how much it's changed.
Well, I mean, I think also too, the partners are evolving and they're getting more. I mean, you look on, I go back to look at maybe some of the MSPs and in that space, maybe 10 years ago, where they were super reliant on the vendors and the manufacturers to provide them with all those marketing tools and provide them with all those marketing campaigns. But now some of these partners have robust marketing tools and robust marketing teams. I mean, the marketing software has gotten much more accessible for everyone. The best practices and those things aren't really hidden inside of large organizations that were the vendors and the manufacturers. So even as a channel marketer, sometimes now you're needing to support a team that might be a faster moving team maybe than what you are. And it has a lot of those tools where you're having to support, like I said, a fast moving, nimble team that is now your partner, not just your internal team too.
Yeah, great points, Kevin. So the channel marketing teams more than ever need access to automation, right? They need automated tools. They need tools that'll make it easier for them to give the channel sales leader what he or she needs. And another role the channel leader can play is make sure you know what's limiting your marketing group, your channel marketing group. And if they don't have the tools they need, sometimes they won't tell you. They're just not delivering the results. And then when you sit down one-on-one and you say, hey, what would help you? They said, well, if I had X amount of money to go buy this tool, I could really help you more. Well, okay, let's build a joint business case to go to the CFO, and I'll help you as a channel leader. I'll help you go get access to those tools. And I know people listening are probably saying, well, that's very simple, right? No kidding. But you'd be amazed at how often that doesn't happen. And I thought it was just in the companies I worked in. Now that I'm exposed, to your point earlier, to many more companies, it's a common problem, and it goes back to trust and communications.
And I think like a quick little even story, like not to get too tactical on it, but I mean, I was on a call maybe about 2 weeks ago. It was with a channel leadership and a channel marketing person, and they were talking about different challenges, and we were walking through some stuff. And the channel marketer said, well, you know, it's really hard because whenever we put out a new data sheet or a new case study, or we put out something that's a marketing material, I've got to go in and pull all the partner logos and put those partner logos, the ones that have clicked that they want co-branded assets, and I've got to go and do that. And like there was a kind of a pause there, and the channel leader said, well, how long does that take? And they're like, well, they're doing the math, and like, well, there's 115 partners, and it takes me maybe, and I mean, it was like one of those like eye-opening experiences of maybe if it wasn't because they always did it that way, they started that process before there was technology for this on-the-fly co-branding, or if it was maybe there was a trust issue there where that person didn't feel like they could raise their hand to the leadership and say, hey, I'm spending a week of my time to go in and just put an asset into there when there's automation that exists out there that could do this for the partners on demand. But that's another example where it's like if that communication up and down could really save some time and efficiencies.
Yeah, it's a great example. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
I mean, I think maybe also that leads to like the next kind of piece too of that. Whenever channel leadership looks at channel marketing, channel sales, and sales is always easy to measure because there's a number. Sometimes looking at marketing and with all the technology, looking at influence and looking at leads that are generated, looking at activity, looking at all those things, the accountability, the communication, reporting, how important is that in the channel leadership's view of the activities of channel marketing?
Yeah, extremely important would be my short answer. My longer answer is you need to establish and monitor the right leading and lagging indicators, right? So one indicator is definitely leads generated, right? But do you track, you have to also track how many of those leads were accepted by sales? How many were converted into opportunities? How many were eventually won? What was the sales cycle associated with those marketing leads compared to other leads? Was it longer? Was it shorter? What was the average size deal that was closed with those marketing leads? And many times it's much smaller. So then you go back and you tweak the marketing so that you appeal to maybe larger companies, not just the SMB space, but maybe the mid-enterprise space. So all of those metrics are important. And what's also important is you have one owner of all these metrics, because I'll give you an example. I was in one organization a while ago, and my channel sales managers were charged with going to recruit new partners. So they went out and talked to dozens of new partners. And what did those partners do? They started hitting our website. They started downloading white papers. They started, finding out more and more about the company I was with. And marketing at that time was separate from channels, right? And so marketing said, hey, look at all these leads we have from our website, right? All these companies hit it, and they're all partners, Carmen. So here, we're giving you all these partner leads. And I'm saying, time out. That the reason they hit our website is because the work we're doing in the field, right? And by the way, your field channel marketing people are helping. So I'm not saying you had no role in it, but let's not bifurcate it and say those were marketing leads for partners and others are channel. Let's work together as a team. Let's trust one another. Let's work together as a team and have a common set of metrics.
It's interesting because we've talked before about the term channel conflict whenever you look at like partner sales versus channel sales. But there's a channel conflict with inside of the organizations too, of like, where did those partner leads come from, or where did those leads internally come from? Did they come from the channel side? Did they come from the direct marketing? Did they come from the channel sales and all the field marketing? So looking at those things too as an influence, not as cut and dry, black and white. I think that's something that people miss, because you can't be double counting those and making sure that your metrics, you're giving that attribution to the right place.
Yeah, attribution's key, Kevin, especially today when in any given tech transaction, there may be 3, 4, 5 partners involved in different capacities. Maybe one's an influencer, maybe one's delivering services, maybe one's reselling of hardware product or software product. So when you have multiple partners involved in the same deal, it becomes even more important to make sure you have the attribution correct. Good points.
And even to talking about those different partner types, a quick pivot on there. I mean, that's another challenge for channel marketing teams, because the leaderships and the sales side, yeah, they want those alliances. They want those people who are just bringing referral deals. They want those influencers. They want their partner, like bringing the contract. Like there's all those different types of partners, and marketing now has to support those. They have to be able to support an influencer. They need to support a channel team that's out there working with the partners, or even like a partner base that's working on their own and wants to white label things. I think there's a lot more by the different types of partners today, and the rise of this ecosystem where each partner can play a different role at a different time. It's a tricky spot for channel marketers to be in, to provide content and to provide assets that kind of meet all of those needs where the partners are in certain sales cycles too. So.
No, good point. The evolution of the ecosystem, as I said, more and more partners getting involved, who's working through a marketplace, a cloud marketplace, who's reselling. So the complexity of the types of partners you're working with in that ecosystem, we always think about how that manifests itself in the partner manager role, right? You need a different partner manager skill set to manage transactional partners as compared to a large IT outsourcer or a large global systems integrator. And people realize that, and they hire different channel people for those different roles. But your point is the channel marketing, the partner marketing, has the similar complexity. You don't market to a global systems integrator with 200,000 employees, right? The same way you're going to market to, a small regional reseller in the Southeast region of the US, right? There's just different techniques, different language you use, different messaging. So I agree with you.
And it's interesting. All right, we're 21 and a half minutes in, and neither one of us has said the phrase AI. That must be a record in 2024 for anyone to have a conversation and not say AI in 20 minutes. But I think even that too, of like, as you're looking at AI tools and things like that are popping up, of giving, as you're writing prompts and doing those things, of talking about perspective, of like, write this from the perspective of an influencer, write this as you're having a conversation with a GSI, or if you're using a local MSP in a metro region. I think sometimes too that as marketers, we try to create the most general language, and that was what works, because that's going to check all the boxes. But now getting like that hyper, not personalized, but hyper persona driven off of those things. I think AI has afforded us a lot of times too to like be able to go back and rework those things, and not just do your, hey, let's change customer to partner type of fix the content.
Yeah, good point. And I think these Gen AI tools that are coming out are going to help people do their jobs, but we have to make sure that that transactional channel marketing person doesn't say, hey, I can easily do something for GSIs. I'll just use AI to do it. Well, it'll help you do it, but you have to still have the context of what the market is, what the customer needs, and use it as a productivity enhancer, if you will. And you're aware we're going to be announcing our Gen AI powered capability later this month. And we're so excited because we're going to help partner account managers have access to a lot of information that we've obtained over the last 8-9 years around channels, channel marketing, channel sales, channel programs. And with the right prompts, they'll be able to get answers to their questions in a much more concise and relevant manner. And we're excited about helping our clients even more with this leveraging Gen AI. And then, by the way, if you add vendor specific banks to it, it becomes even more compelling, because then you can apply it for your internal constituents to help you get more effectiveness, efficiency out of your channel team. And by the way, like everything we do, it can extend to the partners as well. So good point. We're excited about launching that. And again, I'll say, as long as people realize it doesn't replace having knowledge of a specific area, especially with these complicated ecosystems that have really evolved. So it's an enhancer. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I think that even like the tip I would pull out of that, if you're going to use AI and you're going to do those things, think about using AI to help you with a very specific thing. But think about, as you're writing those prompts, like, hey, what's the difference whenever I'm marketing to a GSI versus a smaller tech vendor or a smaller MSP, or asking for that perspective, and knowing that you can't just go in and change the word like we talked about. You can't just go change, hey, MSP XYZ versus GSI ABC. Like, you can't just change the name inside of the messaging. You got to make sure that those are your customers, and those, as you're going that channel marketing role, like those are that's your sale and your conversion, is getting those partners out there enabled and working for you. So, but yeah, big exciting stuff too for that AI piece. And then also another plug too for AchieveUnite. I know you've got your great chatbot, Bob, that I've used a few times too. And it's great that it gives those perspectives because it's been trained on content that is specific to the channel. It's not just giving, like, you're using ChatGPT and it's just looking at a very broad swath of everything. This is a very specific AI tool, just like we have in our platform for the content creation and the gen of AI for blog posts and emails and doing all those communication pieces. It's good to have AI that's trained on the language models of partnerships. So
yep, exactly, Kevin. And you're right with what you guys are doing at Mindmatrix, leveraging Gen AI. I think it's remarkable the progress you've made and the capabilities that you're now offering your clients. And it's exciting to be working with you and partnering with you guys. I think there's a lot of great opportunities ahead of us.
And there's some more fun things that'll be coming out here in the next couple months too. So not to tease on those, but so yeah, Carmen, again, thanks for the time. I think maybe if someone wanted to find out more about AchieveUnite, where would be the best place to go?
You can go to our website, AchieveUnite.com, or you could reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn, Carmen Sorice III, and would love to engage with you, talk to you about what your challenges are. And if we can help you solve them, we will. And if we can't, we probably know someone in this ecosystem who can help you. So looking forward to many more conversations like that.
Yeah, same here on the Mindmatrix side. You can find us at mindmatrix.net. And I mean, AchieveUnite's one of our closest, nearest and dearest partners too. And I find that there's, like you said, if we don't have the answers, or if you're as a technology provider providing PRM and ecosystem enablement, if you're not even ready for those things and you're saying, like, how do I build a channel? We've got great partners like Carmen and the folks at AchieveUnite that we can come in and say, hey, you might not need technology. You might not need a way to solve some of these channel marketing problems if you're just starting off. Here's a team that's already done these things before and kind of help you map those out. Another thing too that we do with AchieveUnite is we do our great partner ecosystem and channel ecosystem boot camps. We just finished one up in the Atlanta metro area in Alpharetta a few weeks ago. We've got one coming up in Q4 in Seattle, and then also we're doing the partners free. If I don't know the exact term, in October, the Partner Engagement Summit, or what's
it's our AchieveUnite Next Generation Partnering Summit.
And that's coming up in October.
Yep, at the Carasoft headquarters. Yep.
So looking forward to some of those events. What could someone expect to that summit in October? What could someone expect to if they want to attend that event?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Kevin. We have vendor leaders, channel leaders coming to this event. Many of them bring partners of theirs. So think of it as a thought leadership event. Last year, we had a 4-star general talk about trust and how he leverages trust to lead his teams. We had FBI speakers talk about leadership and coordinating complicated initiatives and programs. So it's really a thought leadership event for how can you get better at partnering in this next generation. And so again, it's some vendors with their partners. Carasoft plays a lead role in that. They host us every year, and we're pleased about that. And we're just looking forward to having even more. It's over 100 people, probably 150 people will show up. And it's a full day of activities and learnings and breakouts. And you can come and expect to learn about the best practices in partnering, what some of the challenges people have in partnering and building trust, and how to overcome those challenges.
Awesome. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities to come and learn in person outside of these virtual ones too. But yeah, again, Carmen, thank you for coming on. And again, always value the partnership between Mindmatrix and AchieveUnite. If anyone has any questions, we will maintain the chat over here for the on-demand recording, or you can visit AchieveUnite.com or mindmatrix.net and see more. So Carmen, again, thank you very much. It was a great conversation.
Thank you, Kevin. Enjoyed it. Thank you.